Okay. So my first question, Adriatik, to you is: so what is now happening in Theth?
Oh, it's a little bit complicated actually, because no one know for sure what is happening. Because according to national park, every building in Theth is illegal. It should never be building. But the idea is that people of Theth have been there before the national park, before the Albania was independent. They lived there at least since 500 years ago. And to me, they have the right to build there, even if government is not giving the permission. Government will give the permission. And also they have been promised from their prime minister last year that you are in your land, you have the right to build there. For me, this situation, it sounds weird, but it's a little bit like with the Native American people who used to be in their land for many years, and then a new government came and they said, "Oh no, you have no right here. This is not your land. This is not this." But just because doesn't have paper to only because they don't have papers for the land, that doesn't mean that that is not their land. Everyone knows that it have been their land for century. They have fought for that land, even with Ottoman Empire, with the Serbian, with everyone else. They used to fight to protect that land. And to me, it's not fair what Albania government is doing there. They didn't destroy everything, to be honest. They destroyed some 80 buildings, and there are still maybe some 100, 150 buildings left. But no one knows if they will go back and destroy also the others. According what I have seen in the news here and around, is that Albania have make a kind of, call it, pocket of the mountains, and they want to give opportunity to investors to invest in big resorts and these big hotels, not only in Ptal, but everywhere in Albania where there are the mountains. And if you are destroying something that you are saying we want to protect the nature and national park, what is the point if you are giving to someone else to build something even bigger?
Yeah.
It's just a kind of corruption itself, but very good prepared with the papers.
Yeah. So just to remind for people who will maybe listen to our interview. So the Albanian government came and start to destroy the buildings, saying that it is illegally built. There is no permission for that. Yeah. But
there is no permission because it was never offered to give to them permission. It's difficult to build in Albania. And I think this is not a problem only in Albania, it's only in Kosovo and in many Balkan countries. Because our national parks have been created quite lately compared to the European Union national parks. And the idea is that first of all, I am pro-national park. I think we need national park. And I think we need to protect the nature. But if you see Thethu National Park, is like, I don't know exactly with the number, but let's say if it is 100 kilometers square, or at least 200 kilometers square, the village itself is just 2 kilometers square. And everything above the village is wild 100%. And then why people should not have the right to build in the village itself? And there it was no car road, actually it was a car road, but no asphalt road until 2 years ago. Still inside the village there is no asphalt, there is a lot of dust. And the idea of Albanian government is to protect them, but I think there is something else behind. There is, of course, these big projects that they want to give to private investors.
Yeah, I think it's for my point of view, as I'm visiting Albania very often, and I own a land in Albania, so I have some experience with the bureaucracy there, and I think this is important to understand the local point of view, because from the European point of view, like Central European point of view, we feel that what is illegal, it's illegal, yeah. But I think that this is not exactly that case, because as you mentioned, there were quite significant changes in the ownership during the communist age.
Can I make you a question?
Yeah.
You are from Poland?
Czech.
Sorry, Czechia, okay. And if we always will live only with legal things, let's say Eastern Europe still will be under communism, because it was illegal to protest and to destroy the communism. And sometimes, not to me, but to every person who should think smart, they should know that not everything that is legal is good. some things are legal, but they are not good. Some things are illegal, but maybe they are not so bad. And depends where you live or which time are you living. And to me, I think 30 people are not illegal because they are in their land. It have been their land before Albania existed like a country. It had been their land even during the Ottoman Empire. They had the right to build. And for example, I give you one example. In the social media, the Prime Minister of Albania, he said that, oh, today we are protecting the church, the iconic church of the Thethu, from these buildings around. But who built the church? There is no permission for the church. It was those people who lived there for hundreds of years who built this beautiful church. It was those people who built these trails for the hikers to come and to visit. It was those people with these illegal houses who hosted thousands of tourists around the world. Today, if north of Albania is in the cartolina of the world in the tourism, is because of Theth and Valbona. And just imagine if those people those people have just followed the regulation, they should never build a guest house there, and it will never have tourism there. I understand that as you mentioned in your point, that in European Union, what is legal and what is illegal. But we need a lot of things to work to come in that point that what is legal and what is illegal.
I have to say that I fully agree. I also wanted to ask you, because from my point of view, it's also about how to say, it's related to Kanun and old laws, and because the ownership of the land was given from the past. So I think that the changes which were during the age of communism, where the land was taken away and then was returned back, my experience with Albanian people in the mountains is that they really don't, let's say, understand this change, because they feel that this is my land. It was always my land, and that in meantime somebody changed the papers, I don't mind so much, because it was always my land.
Yeah, it's their land. To be honest, it's their land. I mean, they just should legalize it land and they should pay the tax like everywhere else. But in the end, it's their land. They have been grown there. They have been living there for centuries. And only because today is a beautiful attraction and the government want to put his hands inside, that should not be, it should not be that they should not live there and they should not build there. And this, we need to mention also something else. These buildings are not mushrooms. They haven't grown in one day. They have been building this building for years. Why then the government didn't go there and to stop them to build those buildings? But they came in the middle of the season, where it's the high peak season. They had reservation and everything. Also, let's say in the worst scenario, they could haven't even wait until the October. But they were in the middle of the season. And if you see the last building that it is destroyed there, is destroyed with using the bomb, the Ptal. And that, not that it was needed to do that, because they could use excavator also for that, like they use for 80 more building. But it was just idea to show the power that even we can destroy it even like this. I don't know. I feel very sorry. I'm from Kosovo, but I've been visiting Theth for more than 10 years, and I've been grown there, working with tourism there and sending thousands of tourists there. But I will not like to live in a country when your government just came and take you away, because even with the law, let's say if they want to build an illegal building, it should be the court who decide that it should be destroyed or no. And even if you are in the court, there are different levels of the court, like Supreme Courts and Constitutional Courts and like this. And you should have the right at least 15 days to make a complaint, because maybe you are right. And they just came there like gangsters. They put even gangsters to destroy the buildings, the people who have been accused for even killing people, and they put the gangster there and they said, we will destroy this, we will destroy this. And I'm also surprised how people of Thethu didn't resist it so much. If it will be in my village, because we have also mountain village, we will resist it more for sure.
Honestly, I saw the videos of throwing the Molotov cocktails on the.
It was only one. Yeah, it was only one case.
It was only one, And honestly, I was also surprised that it was so peaceful, the resistance of the Theth.
Yeah, also to
habitant.
me. I mean, Molotov, you have Molotov in street of Paris every time. If the 2 cents, the price of fuel is increasing, you have Molotov and everything. And I think when the criminals come to you and they cheat you, because people of the Theth have been cheated, we have a word besa in Albania that says that if you give besa, you need to keep the word. The Prime Minister, Edirama, he came in Theth before the election and he said to people, you are in your land, only because you don't have the paper doesn't mean that it's your land. And he promised them that he will legalize everything. And the most development in the Theth happened after he came last year in, I think it was June, when he said that I'm gonna legalize your land. Then people start to build even more. And then the same person give the order to destroy their houses.
Why do you think he does it after the elections and in the middle of the season to show the power?
No, after first of all, he could have done that before the election because he will lose the votes in the population.
Still, as you mentioned, he can wait till October. Yeah, for example.
Yeah, but no, this is a more political thing, and I'm from Kosovo. It's not that I really want to talk about the politician of Albania, but no, he's quite powerful. He have majority of the seats in the parliament and everything, and he want to show the people. He find that, I mean, Thethu Valley is known for these fighters and is known like a tough place. Even during the 1997, when Albania had that so-called civil war, Theth it was safe. No one came never in Theth to do anything, and Shoala Valley. And he wanted to use the power. I think this is why he started so brutally with the Theth. And he wanted to show that I do whatever I want here.
And also, I wanted to ask, because what I heard and read, they have some kind of at least oral approval from the local administration. So it, as you say, they were quite sure, not only because of Edirama, but also because of the local authorities that they can build. Yeah, and now the situation is completely opposite. They say, okay, the local person cannot give you anything, and you are illegal. Yeah, this is my understanding.
But I usually can compare right now Albania with Belarus. It's one-man country. He decide whatever he want. If he want to let them build, he will let them build. If he don't want, unfortunately, there is not so much democracy in Albania, and is that guy who decide whatever he want. And that, unfortunately, maybe he don't have very good advisor to tell him what is good or what is not good. And I mean, how you can let the hydropowers to be built in Valbona Valley, and you cannot let people have guest houses? Where is the point? If you really want to protect the nature, why you let hydropowers in the national park? Is against every national park regulation. But as I told you before, he want to make this kind of pocket of the mountains, and he want to give to the big investors. Same thing that he did in the south. And I can do nothing against that. I can use my Facebook sometimes to post, but in the end, I think people of Albania should decide if they want to let that happen or not.
And what is the actual situation? So it is safe for tourists to travel to Theth? It's everything's okay? Or
yes. Albania is one of the safest countries in Europe to travel, and I mean, this thing, the destroyed of these things is even bad for tourism, because it will be not so much competition inside, because less guest houses prices go higher, more guest houses prices go lower, and the prices also the services, because I believe that only when there is a competition there is a good services. But let's see what will happen. But for tourism, Albania is very safe. It's still a very attractive country. The idea is that, how I heard in the news and to the people, is that he want to go to destroy also the buildings in Valbona, and then in Cherem, and then in Dobrdal. Anyway, what happened in Theth or Valbona, there are still some opportunities. But when it comes, for example, to Cherem and Dobrdal, which are the villages, overnight villages on the Pixel Balkan Trail, which is the most famous trail in the Southeast Europe, where thousands of tourists come every year in the summer. If he will destroy the guest houses in Cherem and in Dobrdol, then is the risk for the whole trail, because 2 nights without guest houses, I don't think that any company can start to bring tourists in that place anymore.
So, yeah, do you think it, or do you have the same feeling that it is really can have the impact to the rural development of in Albania? Because who can be sure now? You know, because it's the same situation with the land. It's it can be, I don't know, in the mountains of South Albania, everywhere. Yeah.
Look, maybe in the south of Albania it works to have this big resorts with 2,000 rooms and these 5-star hotels. But from my experience and people who work in the tourism experience in Albania, in the north, everyone rather sleep in the good guest house, family-run guest house, rather than a big hotel. You already have a big hotel or 2 in Valbona, actually, I think 3, and they don't have so many guests. I think this idea of creating these big resorts in the mountains doesn't work very well and is not attractive at all. Albania itself is attractive because of these small guest houses, this beautiful landscape, and this traditional food. Come on, you cannot go in Theth and build a 5-star hotels and start to sell seafood. It make no sense.
Yeah, but this is exactly my words, because I'm organizing the trips for people, and no one from my clients who are willing to visit the mountains, they are not willing to sleep in the hotels. They are really searching for small guest houses. I don't, and I even don't think that Albania, the population, have really the skills to host the 5-star hotels. You can see on the coast.
No.
Yeah,
Tourism is, you're
Albania
right.
and Kosovo, it's warmly welcoming into the families. But if you start with the procedures in 5-star hotels, it's never working. The quality is never there.
I just came today from a tour here in Pixel Balkan, and I finished today the tour. And I was in this part, Valbona to Dobrdol, and then I crossed in Kosovo side in Jaravica. And I saw that they are making a huge road from Cherem to Dobrdol, like at least 8 meters wide. And who needs that one? No one needs that one. And why you make such a big road, and then the road it going itself above the trail peaks of the Balkan. They are destroying a trail to build a road and to make asphalt there. I think is a big miss of the idea what is good or what is not good for tourism in Albania. And also with this idea that someone goes and destroys your building whenever he wants, I think people in Albania will not willing anymore to invest because they will not feel safe for that. It's sad because they have been in the debt to build this accommodation, and today their accommodation is destroyed. And also the other thing is that if you don't let people to work in the tourism in that region, especially in the north of Albania, they have only 2 ways: to emigrate in Europe or to sell drugs. It's better to work in the tourism or to do these 2 things.
Yes, I think it's a great, great last word, because it's exactly what I don't understand and what I don't agree with the situation. For me, even it's more important to stress out the tradition of the ownership and these things, because, as I mentioned, for people in Europe, maybe it's not so clear. But when you know Albania and when you know the history of Albania, you understand that for people it's important how it was and what is the historical feeling of the family and how long the family lived there. It's more important that papers which change it 3 times in the 1 century. But
I will tell you something. There is no land in Theth or Valbona where there are 2 people who claim that land, 2 owners. Even though they didn't have papers for centuries, everyone knows where are their borders.
Yes.
And you go in the south of Albania or even in the middle of Albania in Tirana, you want to buy a land and then you see 2, 3 owners who claim this is my land.
Exactly.
It's so easy to give the land to the people because everyone knows where is his land. It's not like they came there 10 years ago and they catch what they can.
Yeah. it's quite strange situation where the government is changing what the locals are decided that it is correct. Like usually the court, as you mentioned, or government is coming in situation when people are unable to find their borders and to define their land. And now it's completely opposite. Exactly all community agree on the borders, and somebody outside came and say, no, it's not like this. It's not,
And
not
he's
like
sorry to stop you, but he is doing this in name of European Union, because he said we cannot go like this in European Union, blah blah blah. But in European Union, no one can destroy your house without court deciding. It cannot be a government or an institution inside the government. And I mean, Albania should not, if they want to change something for good, they should change for itself, not for join European Union. Because if they want to have more freedom of the speech or freedom of business or like this, they should do it first for themselves, not for the European Union. And I think we are, Western Balkans, we are not very, very ready to join right now in this situation, European Union. And we should not run so fast to catch it. When it comes, it comes.
Yeah, but honestly, I think that if there is a problem to enter to European Union, it will be exactly because of the justice and because of the other big topics which Albania has on the list, and not because of the ownership of piece of land in Theth.
So that's exactly,
that's the point. Okay. Anyway, thank you very much. One last question. Can this happen in Kosovo?
Yeah, exactly. I have a guest house in Kosovo in National Park. I built the guest house to the cabin, the stone cabin where my grandparents have been there for 100 years. I built a big one, and I try to be very careful with environment. I make the cover with the stone and with the wood, and like this, and still I am in the court. But fortunately, Kosovo is not like Albania. It's not one-man country. We have justice institution here, the court, who decide, and you can complain, and it's not easy to do that. But yeah, it can happen also in Kosovo. And I still believe that it's better to have national parks, but also inside the national parks, you can have these small villages where you can make like a different zone, or even to put outside of national park. I don't like to be outside the national park. When people can build and can grow the tourism and can work with the tourism, because if you have tourism there moving there, even the mountains will be more protected itself. I have been grown here, and 20 years ago, if I was going to these mountains here, you will just have seen people cutting a lot of woods, like big trucks, just to sell them like this. I'm not against to cut 2-3 woods for people who needs to heat, I do by myself, but not to do business with the wood and like this. Or you have everyone doing whatever it wants, throwing trash and like this. And now after tourists start to came, they changed a little bit the ideology, because they said, oh, they are coming from Europe or from US or from Australia to visit this beautiful place. We also need to protect this place because they value it more. And yeah, it can happen also in Kosovo, but fortunately, Kosovo is not like Albania, where one person can decide whatever he wants. Not so far. I don't know what can happen in the future. I hope they will find a solution. Also in Kosovo, when the national park it was established in 2012, it was just because of the European Union wanted to have so fast some national parks in Kosovo. They never asked local community who have been there for 400 years, 500 years. They just created the national park. And now they see that they have make a problem, because first, when you want to make something, you need to go to talk to community there to see what are their needs and how you can fit their needs in this project. Not just to do copy paste from any European country, because European countries have solved these problems 100 years ago, and it doesn't work like in Switzerland 100 years ago, like today in Balkans. But let's see what will happen. I mean, personally, I will resist, not to start a war, of course, but there are many democratic ways to protest and to resist. And I still believe that Kosovo is not a country who someone just can come and destroy it only because he won.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I will see you next Friday, by the way. I'm coming to your guest house. So
Oh, I will not be there. I will be in Dolomites.
You are okay.
Yeah, but my mother and my brother will be there, and you will see what we have built it there and how much we try to connect with the nature and to protect the environment. But still, we are in the court for that guest house.
Okay. So I will at least see your brother next week.
You are welcome, like in your house.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you. I really
You are
appreciate it.
welcome, and thank you so much.